Once again, we thank you all for attending. We looks like we've got an overwhelming crowd here today that would honor our veterans, deceased and still living, rather than drinking beer and having a barbecue. That comes later. We are not gathered here today, not to picnic or buy Memorial Day discount merchandise, even though it's 80% off, but to remember and honor those who served and died defending our nation's freedoms. Let us revive our patriotism and love of country, and remember that some gave all gave some. Thank you for attending.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Press to fight for the right
United States Army.
the nation's might, and the army was rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won, and the army was rolling along. From the halls of Montezuma,
United States Marine Corps. United States Navy. United States Coast Guard. United States Air Force. Now raising the POW-MIA flag in tribute to those lost and missing in action.
Present arms!
My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my father died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside let freedom ring.
a Yankee Doodle dandy, Yankee Doodle do or die. A real live nephew from my Uncle Sam, born on the 4th of July. I've a Yankee Doodle sweetheart, she's my Yankee Doodle joy. Yankee Doodle went to London just to ride a pony. I am that Yankee Doodle boy. You're a grand old flag, you're a high-flying flag, and forever in peace may you wave. You're the emblem of the land I love, the home of the free and the brave. Every heart beats true for that red, white, and blue, and there's never a boast or brag. Should old acquaintance be forgot, keep your eye on the grand old flag. If tomorrow all the things were gone I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife, I'd thank my lucky stars to be living here today, where the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. Yes, I'm proud to be an American, or at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died and gave that right to me. And I'd gladly stand up next to you, and this will hurt still today. For there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Today I'm honored to introduce a friend of all veterans and a friend of the Lansing Veterans Memorial and its Honor Guard. I first met this individual in 1992. He's a history teacher at Lake Central High School in St. John, Indiana. It was then that I found out what he had and his history students were doing for assignments. That was locating and contacting, interviewing the families of area war heroes. I believe it was somewhere in 1992 that we contacted him. He and his students helped us find, interview families of some of the names here on the memorial here behind me today. We in turn helped him to find others to interview. A U.S. Army veteran recently received an American Legion Award for the National Education Award, which is pretty prestigious. I'm proud to know him, our speaker, Mr. Tom Clark.
I am somewhat nervous to be here among all these heroes today and all their families, the supporting families. My name is Tom Clark. I've been a teacher at Lake Central High School since 1982 and 83. And it seems really weird that I'm standing here after all these years, because back in 83, the Marines were attacked in Beirut, Lebanon, and 2 individuals from Indiana, from Northwest Indiana, lost their lives. And I was having a hard time as a beginning teacher to get my students to connect to what was going on. So I had my students start to write letters to the surviving Marines and the Marines that were coming in as replacements. To my amazement, these students jumped on that like no other lesson I've ever given, and they still remember it to this day. And in that class, in the school at that time, was a young man named Doug DeVries, and he was only a freshman. And we started to display the letters coming back from Beirut of the survivors and the Marines that came in out of Grenada and came into Beirut as replacements. And this young man saw this display, and then later when I had him in class as a senior, he asked me, he said, "Mr. Clark, why haven't we honored the 5 from our high school that have died in Vietnam?" Or at that time, he thought there were only 2. And it was so late in the year, I said, we'll look into it. And I found 2 more names during the summer, and then we found the 5th name of a boy named Daryl Trent, who received the nation's 2nd highest award, the Navy Cross. And the other 4 were all heroes too. They got Bronze Stars for valor. So we started out to honor these 5 individuals, and I had no idea what to do. But the VVA came to my aid and helped me put together a ceremony where we honored those 5 individuals, and we had all 5 families there at the school. And then the next year, these young people, you know, people today think that young people don't care, but they do. All you have to do is give them a little guidance. And these young people that I had came to me and said, Mr. Clark, why don't we do something like that for Lake County or for the Calumet region? And I thought, well, maybe Lake County, Indiana lost maybe 40. We could do it. Lake County lost 261. And it has taken us 30 years of hard work to find those families. We are only 1 photograph short of the 261. We have found them. And then at the same time we were doing this, we had a huge blessing come about, and that was through 2 individuals from this group, and you know their names, and they asked us to do the research on the boys from Vietnam that died from this area. So we started to go out and interview the families from around here, and what an amazing thing for my students to go out, sit down with the Gold Star mothers, the fathers, the brothers, the sisters, to cry with them, to laugh with them, and to share their memories. And many of the families said, when we were doing this, it was like bringing their sons back to life. And I feel that today. And it has never gone away. I had a unique experience with one boy whose name is up there on the wall that symbolizes all of these heroes. His name was Thomas Padilla. His brother lived right down this street here. We went to interview his brother. His brother said, we were told that he received the Purple Heart, that he was killed in action. I went back to this, well, I had students with me. The students started digging deeper and deeper. They found out that Thomas Padilla did not just die in action. He saved 2 individuals and received the Bronze Star for Valor, 2 Army Commendation Medals also. All of these medals had never been delivered to the family. So we did some calling, and we found the medals in a box in a veterans office near here, sitting on a shelf. They had been sitting there for over 20 years. Some of the awards were missing, and so the students immediately, this is what's so powerful about young people today, they called the Pentagon and demanded that these awards be sent out to the family. Oh, it gets better than that. We had to present these awards to the family. So at Our Lady of Guadalupe Hidalgo Church on a Sunday afternoon in May of 1992, my students presented the awards to the family, and the mom and dad were in Mexico. And they brought the mom and dad up from Mexico and presented the awards. Now that's not the end of it. These 4 young ladies that did this are all now gone and off, leading lives and carrying on the legacy that they put together. And this last year and the year before, last year, I was standing in class and I looked down at a young lady sitting in my class. And she said, I was talking about the Vietnam War and about the researcher, and she told me, she said, my great uncle died in Vietnam. I said, what was his name? She goes, Thomas Padilla. I almost passed out. This young lady had been born before we had even started the research. I mean, born after we had interviewed the family. So I immediately got the file out, showed her the file. She goes, that picture there, that's my grandmother. This is my great uncle. And over the years, the last year and this year, she has to put together more information for us on that file. And this year, and it's really neat to say, her grandmother, the brother of this boy, Thomas Padilla, is today being presented with a sketch of him that Melanie, her name is Melanie Sanchez. Melanie Sanchez put this sketch together. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. It just goes on and on and on. And I was able to develop a special bond with this young lady. And this young lady's going to go someplace someday. I mean, she works her, I can't say that word here, off, and she does incredible things. But that's what it's all about. Thomas Padilla's spirit still lives with all of us, lives with her. She is carrying on his legacy, and it has made me a better teacher. I remember when I was in Afghanistan at the ripe old age of 50, every morning they would, it's a Muslim country, as you know, they would, you'd have the prayers and stuff 5 times a day. And some of the young soldiers asked me, they said, what is that? Why do they pray 5 times a day? And I told them, I said, they pray 5 times a day as a reminder of what you should do, be good, help others. I told them that's what that's about. And that's what this memorial symbolizes. And all of you heroes, we all symbolize. When we pass this, I drive past this, it's all a reminder of what was given to all of us by all of you. We would never have this country and be free if it hadn't been for all of you that went out and all of you families that supported us. And I want to thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Rise to sing the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He has loosed the faithful lightning on his terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. I have seen him in the watchfires of the hundreds earthly camps. They have builded him an altar in the evening dews and damps. I can read the righteous sentence by the dim and flaring lamps. His train is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. He has sounded forth the trumpet and shall never call retreat. He is sifting out the human hearts before his judgment seat. Oh, be swift, my soul, to answer him. Be jubilant, my feet. Our God is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. In the beauty of the lilies, Christ was born across the sea, with a glory in his bosom that transfigured you and me, as he died to make us holy. Let us cry the world be free. Our God is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. Amazing seas beyond the years, thine alabaster cities gleam, undimmed by human tears. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
We started this portion of our program, I believe it was 3 years ago, and that was honoring our deceased veterans by having a member of their family present and show the flag of that deceased veteran. We're continuing today. We're first starting with 10 of our Honor Guard members that have died since 1992, starting with the widow of Specialist 4th Class Ernie Pallone.
Our time, march. Halt. Left and right, face.
The next Honor Guard member to have passed away was Tom Bourne, United States Navy. The next Honor Guard member to have passed away was one of the original 11 members, Tom O'Connor. Next, Bob Flores, United States Marine Corps. Another original member from the first 11, Bob March, U.S. Air Force. Next was a World War II veteran, only he always says he wasn't really a World War II veteran because he didn't go in until the war actually ended, but he's still considered a World War II veteran because of the date line. Name is Vic Tanis, U.S. Marine Corps. Next was a really terrific guy, past commander of American Legion, Post 330 and an Honor Guard member, Ron Orzel. The next, another original member, and if it wasn't for him and Richard and myself, I don't think we'd have the Honor Guard when it started. Jim Deers, drill instructor at Fort Knox, U.S. Army. Next, passed away just a couple of years ago, was a really terrific guy, Frank Opiola, U.S. Army. And last of the 10, but not least, and very sad, it brings tears to my eyes, is a terrific guy. He was a medic with the 1st Cav during Vietnam, Tom Doc Knock. He passed away just a couple of weeks ago. And God, we miss you, Tom.
Not to be left out, but representing my uncle, who was at the invasion of Normandy and taken as a prisoner of war and served 13 months in a POW camp, representing our family, Lisa Safransky. And as Larry said, here before us is a lasting tribute to those that served and died for our country. God bless. Now our Honor Guard will render a 21-gun salute in memory of those deceased.